Listen, I'm going to tell you something about what happens the moment you walk away from a narcissist that will completely change how you see the chaos that follows. You think you should feel free, but instead you're hit with a tsunami of emotions so confusing it feels like you're the one who messed up. But before you start thinking you made a mistake, understand this. What I'm about to reveal comes from observing this pattern time and time again. It's a mechanism, a program that runs the second you close that door, and until you understand it, you'll be trapped in a prison of self-doubt. You did it. You walked away, blocked the number, and now there's just silence. But that silence is deafening, isn't it? That feeling isn't a sign you were wrong. That is the revelation that will set you free. It's the first, brutal and necessary feeling of getting your life back. First, let's break down the immediate aftermath. The shock. In the first few hours, you might feel a strange, unsettling numbness. For years, your entire nervous system has been running a program of hypervigilance, constantly braced for the next fight, the next manipulative twist, the next criticism. Your body has been living in a state of high alert. Now that the source of that chaos is gone, the system doesn't know how to process peace. It's like stepping off a bullet train and feeling like the ground is still moving beneath you. You know, people call this an emotional hangover. You feel physically lighter, but your mind is in a total fog. This numbness isn't a flaw, it's a protective mechanism. It's your brain and body, after running on adrenaline for so long, essentially shutting down all non-essential programs to conserve energy. You survived the war, but now you're standing alone on the battlefield, and the silence is all-consuming. You might even feel disconnected, like you're watching a movie of your own life. This isn't denial. It's your psyche trying to process a trauma. It's only just now realizing is over. Don't fight the fog. That quiet is the space where your healing will eventually begin. Now, after that shock wears off, usually in a day or two, the floodgates open, and the first wave that hits is a profound, overwhelming grief. And listen, this isn't just a breakup. It's a complex mourning process. You're grieving the person you thought they were, the future you were sold, and the pieces of yourself you lost trying to keep the whole disaster afloat. It's the death of a dream, and that loss is devastatingly real. But right behind that grief is another, more powerful emotion: rage. Don't mistake this for simple anger. This is a deep, primal rage that comes from finally, clearly seeing the injustice you survived. You'll replay conversations in your head, and suddenly the gaslighting, the manipulation, the pathological lies become so obvious it will stagger you. You have to understand, this rage is not your enemy. It's a sign your self-preservation instinct is kicking back online. It's the part of you that knows, without a doubt, that you deserved better. For so long, your anger was probably punished or dismissed. Now it's returning as a force of nature to ensure you never let your boundaries get violated like that again. This brings us to the next stage, the internal battle. As you enter the first week, the storm turns inward. Your mind gets stuck in a loop, replaying everything. This isn't you being obsessive. It's your brain trying to solve a puzzle that was designed to be unsolvable. You're wrestling with cognitive dissonance, the mental chaos of holding two opposing ideas at once. I loved this person, and this person intentionally hurt me. Here's where it gets really twisted. This is the trauma bond showing its terrible strength. A trauma bond is a powerful psychological attachment, an addiction formed through a cycle of abuse followed by intermittent affection. Breaking it is like detoxing from a drug. You will have an almost irresistible urge to go back, to get one more hit of the familiar, even though you know it's poison. This is when you'll question everything. Was it really that bad? Did I overreact? Am I the problem? Narcissists are masters at flipping the script and programming you to believe you're the one at fault and that software runs deep. You feel lost, like you don't know who you are without them, because your whole identity became about managing their chaos. It is critical to recognize these doubts for what they are. They are not your truth. They are the echoes of the manipulation you endured. Just as you're fighting that internal war, you have to face the external one, the narcissist's inevitable reaction. Now, don't expect them to let you go peacefully. It goes against their entire operating system. Losing you is a massive narcissistic injury, and their ego will demand a response. This usually takes one of two forms: hoovering or rage. Hoovering is the attempt to suck you back in, named after the vacuum cleaner. They'll suddenly become the person you first fell for, flooding you with promises, apologies, and affection. If that doesn't work, they'll switch to rage and punishment. This is where you see smear campaigns, where they play the victim to everyone, twisting the narrative to paint you as the abusive one. It's where you get the threatening texts and the hateful emails. You have to see these behaviors for what they are: predictable, pathetic tactics. Neither is about love, both are about control. The narcissist lost their primary source of supply, and they're panicking. Your power is recognizing their chaos for what it is, theirs, and refusing to engage. Then after you've weathered all of this, the grief, the rage, the self-doubt, the backlash, something new emerges: clarity. It doesn't happen overnight. It starts as a small moment of quiet, an hour where you didn't think about them, a morning where you woke up and the first thing you felt wasn't dread. That's the fog finally lifting. Suddenly, the patterns that confused you make perfect, logical sense. You start to trust your own mind again. This is the dawn of your freedom. You notice the chronic anxiety, the stomach knots, the headaches. They're starting to fade. You realize you can make a decision, any decision, without needing approval or bracing for an argument. Your nervous system, for so long calibrated to chaos, is slowly down-regulating and learning what safety feels like again. This is where you start to actively rebuild. You reconnect with your own identity, your own needs, your own friends. You start pouring energy back into yourself. This clarity is the proof that you made the right decision. It's the first real taste of the life that's waiting for you. Look, your healing journey is not going to be a straight line. Some days you'll feel like you conquered the world, and other days the grief will pull you right back under. Be patient. The pain you're feeling is not a weakness. It's the feeling of a deep wound finally being allowed to heal. And you're not alone in this. The story you are living is one that thousands of others understand intimately. If you feel comfortable, share one word in the comments that describes how you felt in that first week. You'll be stunned to see how many people share your exact experience. In that shared truth, there is immense power. Remember this: letting go of the narcissist isn't just about losing them, it's about finding yourself again. The emptiness you might feel right now is not a void, it is open space. It's the space you need to build a life that is actually your own, based on your values and your dreams. This is your victory.